Hi there, it's Fruit Guru with CityStates, and today we're back with another development progress video. If you haven't been keeping up with these, we recommend checking through previous installments to give you an idea of how CSM gameplay works. But the nuts and bolts of where we are now is that the game loop is fully working, and at this point the team have been improving elements such as the UI, quality of life, as well as adding some additional features, one of which has been requested in the past by quite a few people in the community. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is training units. Previously, once you began recruiting units, as soon as you add them to the build queue, you're paying their upkeep cost, despite not having immediate access to them. After some internal discussion, the team came to the conclusion that this was somewhat unfair towards the player, as it actually deters them from building many units at a time, as ultimately you pay more, meaning the optimal procedure was in fact to build one unit, let it finish, and then move on to the next. And this is an example of where we have to look at quality of life, and it needs to be addressed because at a basic level this is anti-fun. So to make this reasonable, the decision was made that by adding multiple units to the training queue, this would actually bring down the overall training time for these units, meaning that although you are paying upkeep for your army before having access to them, you will receive them at a much faster pace, and I'll show you this here. If we build this melee unit, you're going to see that on this build it takes 1 minute and 39 seconds. But if I add a couple more, that time is drastically reduced. And this is one of the improvements that we're making right now. CityStates has many layers to it, and there's a lot to learn in order to make your city flourish. Having said that, while we do encourage players to figure strategies and build for themselves, we understand that going in completely blind doesn't necessarily make for a fun gaming experience. Because of this, the dev team have started implementing UI indicators that should make life a little bit easier as a leader. Some of these are the addition of live information in the main HUD, such as here if I hover over my wood, you can see what I'm producing and consuming on an hourly basis. Other changes are like these arrows here and these warning signs. These show me that the building is ready to produce and it's doing fine. However, my farm has no citizens assigned to it, so that's why this little notification has popped up here. It is working, it's fine, but I can't do anything with it, and if I go into it here, and I click on my produce, you'll see nothing's going to happen. But if I add a farmer, let's put him in there, suddenly we're able to do work. So the building's fine, but there's nobody in it. And that's what that's trying to communicate. There are also some more complex mechanics here that a player may not realize exist until they get themselves into a situation where fixing it could be a pain. One of these, for example, is the citizen upkeep cost. Although there will be a tutorial covering these elements, it can be easy to forget. To help with this, we have introduced a pop-up each time you upgrade the castle. This will let you know exactly what's changed in terms of your citizen costs. And finally, one of the more frequent queries we've had from the community along the way is, can I visit another person's city? And players can now do so. Right now the feature is quite bare bones as it just lists the players in terms of rank. But if we go in here, we can actually spy on Cetra and we can have a look at what he's been building. And we can even click on his buildings and see the levels, we can see his resources. So although this may not be right for you, as every city will probably be approached differently, it will give you an idea of what people are working towards. But most importantly of all, the ability to flex your mighty city. And that brings us to the end of this segment. We hope this gives you a better idea of what's going on in terms of current development, and some insight into how the team are not only developing a game, but developing a game with user experience in mind. As always, if you have any questions, please let us know. The best place to discuss all things CityStates is our Discord, where both our team and wonderful community are always happy to do so. All of our social links are in the video description below.